What's good, y'all? It's Noble. Today I'm here with my boy Piso. We're gonna be breaking down a lab sample we made in FL Studio. It's some dark guitar Wheezy type shit. And yeah, Piso's gonna break down how he made the starter, and I'm gonna show how I finished the sample.
What's good, y'all? It's Piso, and this is what the starter that I sent to Noble sounds like.
Crazy.
Yes, sir. Okay, so first thing I started with was this guitar right here. I recorded my own guitar. I have an island guitar back there. And what I did is, before I actually recorded it, I added a bunch of effects, some camo space, which it gives like a lot of textures. I use it a lot to flip the sounds, and then some EQ to cut some lows right here.
So you actually recorded it with those effects on, not after you recorded it?
Yeah, it's a preset that Rob sent me, and I was like, why can't I just not record guitar with it? So I tried, yeah. I doubled the guitar and pen one to the left and one to the right, so the sound is like wiser. I just grab the guitar and randomly start playing until I come up with something cool. This was one of those, you know. Next thing I added was this percussion from my One Shot Kit. Very like textured, and this is what it sounds like. By the way, if y'all want to go cop the kit, it's gonna be the link in the description. Next sound is a textured from my kit, and it's the water texture, and I think I just pitched it down like 6 semitones.
And what does that sound like with the perk loops? Makes the whole thing sound underwater.
Exactly, that's the vibe I was going for. Next sound is this bass from my One Shot Kit. As effects, I think I added Decapitator, which is like a distortion, and I added the Dark Fat preset, and I turned down the drive a little bit. This is what it sounds like without the Decapitator. And then
You can hear how much more body it's giving it.
yeah, exactly. Next sound I added is this keys from Analog Lab. I live played it in the piano, and then I fixed the note a little bit. So this is what it sounds like without any effects.
Crazy.
Just a simple pad, you know. And as effects, here too, I added camo space, and it gave a lot of texture to the sound, you'll see now. And an effect rack with a filter sensation preset, and this is what it sounds like with the effects on.
Added so much bounce.
Sound design is the key. Before I actually send the starter to Noble, I pitched it down too with pitch wheel.
Crazy. Alright, so before I break down the sample, this is what the final sample sounds like. Alright, so the first thing I do when I'm working with starters is I solo out the elements that I want to use. For example, here I'm using the guitar and the perk loop, but I cut out a couple other things, and I also put them on their own mixer track so I can add the effects that I want to add. So here I added the gentle modulation on sketch cassette with the flutter down and an instance of thermal as well. With those two, it sounds like this. So I started off with this bass from Steven Avikis' kit called Think. With no effects, it sounds like this. Really basic, simple. And then with the effects, you're going to hear how much more energy and bounce it has. Crazy. So what's doing most of the heavy lifting here is a rhythm stomp preset on thermal. I will highly recommend if you're a producer to get thermal and portal. They're two of the best effect plugins in my opinion.
I agree.
The next section of the sample here is a lot of textures and percussion. I'm gonna start by playing all of them at once, and then I'm gonna break down why I chose each aspect. So starting off, I just played the metronome and kind of heard the bounce that I wanted to have, which was the snare hit and then a little accent hit at the end. For reference, the majority of these percussion sounds are from Steven Novikis' kit. From there, I layered the percussion with this delayed accent, just playing a triplet pattern. If you listen to a lot of Travis Scott and Kanye music, you'll notice that they sometimes have pitched percussion. This is what this sound is. It's a percussion sound, but it has a pitch to it. And then from there, I added these 3 textures, which are from the Steven Novikis kit. A lot of ambience. So what I did to make these textures feel more stereo and fill up both of your ears is by adding contrasting pans. For example, this one has a pan man going from left to right, and this one's going from right to left. So from here, the sample had a lot of body, and it was time to start adding accents and things like that. First thing I have here is this reverse accent that has a lot of distortion on it. Next thing I found is this vocal chop from XY's PISO One Shot Kit. It's called Wiki. So before messing with the pitch and the effects, this is what the vocal chop sounded like. It's ambient, but it's a little bit too much. And with effects and pitch down, it sounds like this. A lot softer.
So smooth.
Alright, so the next thing I have here is this flute phrase. Without any effects, it sounds like this. With effects, it turned into more of a texture than anything. Alright, so the next thing I did was load up the Evolution Infinity Banking Contact, and I chose a tap faster lead preset. And from here I knew I wanted to do a slide, so I had to make sure my import and output ports were at 1 for my MIDI. What I do with my MIDI is I use a pitch wheel to create slides. From here I made sure to add the Guitar Rig 6 preset, and I put the format down about 9 with Little Ultra Boy. After adding a volume automation clip to make it swell in, this is what it sounded like. Crazy. So the next sound is one of my favorite in the whole sample. This is what it sounds like at the original pitch with no effects. Sounds like ass. As for effects, the wicked shred on thermal is really carrying it. And I've also got a light reverb and crystallizer. And then the creamy snowflakes on Guitar Rig 6 with an EQ in the lows. Here's what that sounds like in context with everything. So the next sound I added, I actually ended up deleting. It's important to know as a sample maker, you can add shit that you're not going to have in the final sample. Not everything you do has to be final, and it's important to have your ideas come out first and let the perfections come in later. That being said, this is what it sounded like before I deleted it. Last thing I did was add one of my favorite plugins as of recently. It's called Sound Shifter Pitch Stereo, and I just pitched the whole sample down 1 cent. So before it sounded like this. And with the sound shift. So as for arrangement, I kept it pretty simple. What you usually want to do making samples is have the most high energy part come first and slowly break down the elements until you're left with the most basic idea. That's going to be about it for the video, y'all. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe and also like the video because it does help out the channel a lot. Make sure to go follow my Instagram at prod.noble.
Thank you guys, and make sure to follow me on IG too. My at is PISO1X, and if you guys want to cop my one shot kit, link is going to be in the description.
Yeah, that's about it, and we're out of here.